Most people hear Mediterranean lifestyle and think about olive oil, fish, vegetables, and wine. But a new 2026 study suggests that the most important part may not be the diet alone. In older adults living in England, the people who followed a broader Mediterranean-style lifestyle were more likely to preserve independence, cognitive performance, and mood over time. And when researchers looked more closely, 3 of the strongest contributors were surprisingly ordinary: staying socially connected, remaining physically active, and continuing to cook. The study, published in NPJ Aging on August 20, 2026, analyzed 565 adults aged 65 and older from the English Longitudinal Study of Aging. Instead of asking only what they ate, researchers created a Mediterranean lifestyle score ranging from 0 to 24. It included diet quality, physical activity, hydration, sleep, social isolation, and cooking habits. Then they compared that score with outcomes that matter enormously in later life: difficulty walking, disability in daily activities, cognitive performance, depressive symptoms, and mortality. This matters because longevity research often focuses on one question: what helps you live longer? But for someone in their 70s or 80s, another question may matter just as much. How long can you keep doing things for yourself? Can you walk outside without assistance? Can you shop, prepare food, manage your home, remember appointments, and make decisions independently? Can you still participate in conversations, hobbies, and relationships? Those are not abstract biomarkers. They determine whether extra years of life feel like healthy years. And this is where the new study becomes more interesting than another paper about the Mediterranean diet. People with higher Mediterranean lifestyle scores had lower levels of disability in both basic and instrumental activities of daily living. Basic activities include fundamental tasks, such as dressing or bathing. Instrumental activities are more complex and often determine whether a person can continue living independently, such as shopping, preparing meals, or managing everyday responsibilities. Higher adherence was also associated with a lower risk of functional decline over time. The cognitive results followed a similar pattern. People with higher adherence generally performed better cognitively and showed better maintenance of processing speed, verbal fluency, and memory. They also reported fewer depressive symptoms, but the study did not find a significant association with mortality. That limitation is important because it changes the interpretation completely. This was not evidence that the Mediterranean lifestyle made people live longer. It was evidence that people following more of these behaviors tended to age with better function. That difference is easy to miss, but it may actually make the finding more useful. Imagine 2 people both reach age 85. One has difficulty getting out of a chair, rarely leaves home, needs help shopping, and notices that memory and mental speed are declining. The other still prepares meals, walks regularly, meets people, and manages daily life independently. Their lifespan is identical at that moment, but their health span is very different. The study suggests that a Mediterranean-style lifestyle may be associated more strongly with that second outcome than with simply extending survival. So what exactly is a Mediterranean lifestyle? The diet is still part of it. Traditional Mediterranean eating patterns emphasize vegetables, fruits, legumes, whole grains, nuts, olive oil, fish, and relatively less heavily processed food. But the lifestyle framework is broader. It also captures movement, sleep, hydration, social interaction, and behaviors around preparing and sharing food. That broader view matters because humans do not experience diet in isolation. Someone can eat vegetables every day and still spend most of the day sitting alone. Another person can have a nearly identical diet while walking, shopping for ingredients, cooking, talking with family, and maintaining a regular sleep schedule. On a nutrient spreadsheet, those people may look similar. Physiologically and psychologically, they may not be similar at all. When the researchers performed sensitivity analyses to see which pieces seemed especially influential, social isolation, cooking activities, and physical activity stood out. Physical activity is the least surprising of the 3. Movement helps maintain muscle, cardiovascular fitness, balance, insulin sensitivity, bone health, and mobility. In older adults, these effects can determine whether everyday tasks remain possible. Previous research has also linked Mediterranean-style living with lower frailty risk. although individual components do not always reach statistical significance on their own. But cooking is more interesting. Cooking is not simply a nutritional behavior. For an older adult, preparing a meal can require standing, reaching, planning, remembering steps, handling tools, making decisions, and coordinating several tasks at once. It combines physical movement with executive function. If food preparation is shared with other people, it can also become a social activity. That means still cooking may partly reflect preserved health rather than directly causing it. Someone whose mobility or cognition has already declined may naturally stop cooking. This is one reason observational studies need caution, but it also shows why cooking can be a powerful marker of independence. The same issue applies to social isolation. People who remain socially engaged may receive emotional support, cognitive stimulation, practical help, and more reasons to leave the house and stay active. At the same time, healthier people may simply find it easier to maintain social relationships. The direction of cause and effect can run both ways. Still, the association is difficult to ignore because social connection repeatedly appears in healthy aging research. A meal is biologically different from a nutrient list when eating it requires leaving home, buying ingredients, preparing food, talking with someone, and maintaining a daily routine. This is where the idea of a Mediterranean lifestyle becomes much more interesting than the idea of a Mediterranean diet. The famous diet may work partly because it exists inside a behavioral system. Consider what a traditional meal can involve. You walk to get food. You prepare it yourself. The ingredients are relatively minimally processed. You sit down instead of eating while rushing. You may eat with other people. The meal happens at a relatively regular time. Later, you move again. Each behavior is small. Together, they create a completely different daily environment. And that may explain another important feature of the new research. These participants were living in England, not Greece, Italy, or Spain. That matters because one criticism of Mediterranean lifestyle studies is that the benefits may reflect local culture, climate, genetics, or healthcare, rather than the lifestyle itself. This study cannot eliminate that problem, but it shows that adherence to the same general lifestyle pattern was associated with better aging outcomes in a non-Mediterranean population. In other words, you probably do not need to live beside the Mediterranean Sea for the underlying behaviors to matter. But there is also a trap here. It would be easy to turn these findings into a checklist claiming that 6 habits prevent aging. The evidence does not support that. The sample included only 565 older adults, which is relatively modest compared with massive datasets such as the UK Biobank. The study was observational. Some outcomes were assessed cross-sectionally, while others were examined longitudinally. People were not randomly assigned to cook more, socialize more, sleep better, or follow a Mediterranean diet for years. So the study cannot prove that adopting the lifestyle will produce the same outcomes. There is also the problem of healthy user bias. People who score highly on one healthy behavior often score highly on others. They may have better education, income, access to healthcare, safer neighborhoods, fewer diseases, or stronger social networks. Researchers can adjust statistically for many factors, but no observational study can remove every hidden difference, and the lack of a mortality association deserves attention. If the lifestyle truly transformed every aspect of aging, we might expect a strong survival signal. The researchers did not find one. That does not make the results unimportant. It reminds us that healthy aging and longevity are not identical outcomes. A behavior can help someone preserve memory or independence without measurably increasing lifespan in a particular study. That may still be extremely valuable. This distinction also helps explain why some longevity advice becomes misleading. People often ask for the one food, supplement, or exercise that will make them live longer. But aging is not one pathway. Mobility depends on muscle and balance. Cognition depends on vascular health, neuronal function, sleep, and stimulation. Depression is influenced by biology, health, and social environment. Independence requires all of these systems to work together. A multi-domain lifestyle may therefore have an advantage precisely because it does not target only one biological mechanism. Physical activity challenges the cardiovascular and muscular systems. Healthy food affects metabolism and nutrient quality. Sleep supports recovery. Social contact stimulates the brain and reduces isolation. Cooking combines cognition, movement, and nutrition. Hydration supports basic physiological function. None of these is magical, but together they may create resilience. That may be the central lesson from this study. The Mediterranean lifestyle is often marketed as a special diet from a special region. The new results suggest something more practical. Its value may partly come from the ordinary structure of daily life around the food. Move regularly, prepare meals, stay connected, sleep adequately, drink enough, eat mostly high-quality foods. These behaviors sound almost too simple for modern longevity science, but simplicity does not mean insignificance. For an older person, being able to cook dinner at 80 may represent preserved leg strength, hand function, memory, planning ability, motivation, and independence all at once. Walking to meet a friend may simultaneously train the cardiovascular system, maintain muscle, expose the brain to stimulation, and reduce isolation. That is why measuring healthy aging only through blood tests can miss something important. Sometimes the strongest evidence that an aging system is still working is not a younger biological age score. It is the ability to keep living your own life. The new study does not prove that a Mediterranean lifestyle will make you live to 100. In fact, it found no significant link with mortality. But it points toward a different goal that may matter just as much. Not simply adding more years, preserving the ability to use them.